and welcome back to A Thieves' Lair. The last time we were all together here, we found Palia working her way into what appears to be some sort of residential area. She's trying to determine whether or not there is some sort of wrongdoing occurring in this area, maybe the development rather of a thieves guild or some sort of crime syndicate. In our last adventure, in part one of our adventure of A Thieves' Lair, she worked her way up to this room that you can kind of see in this map. There was a person standing in this room. She slowly opened the door after she had picked the lock and fired off a couple of arrows and subdued this individual. And right now they're laying kind of in the middle of the room. When she had looked through the door, she saw that they were tending flowers. It's kind of a dim light. And they're no longer tending flowers. And so we are back to you, Palia. What will you do?
I am gonna walk over there, about right here, and I'm just gonna investigate the bot.
All right, so let me reveal first some of what you are seeing because now that you're in the room, the light will cascade. Again, dim light. And you will see the rest of the room here. If I can do that correctly. There we go. So there's a table in the back with some additional kinds of gardening implements on it and little clippings of small shrubbery and things like that. And there's a lot more plants in the room that you initially thought. The lighting in the room is coming from some wall sconces that are kind of oil-based, long-burning lamps. And the room is filled with this aroma of flowers, almost kind of fresh-cut flowers. When you look down at the body, you see your arrows sticking out of, a couple arrows actually sticking out of the body. And then she's lying kind of face down. And she has these kind of ornate robes that appear to be more than just commoners' robes, but clearly there are some. She has some, wealth to her. Next to her is that broken watering vessel, and you notice that she has a belt and there's a small pouch. It appears though that it's not just a money pouch. This is a little bit larger. And there's appears to be some papers that are folded up in that pouch. When you open that up and you look at it, it's a note from somebody named Plethmore. And Plethmore is informing, in this case, Greece, which is the unfortunate fallen criminal here, Greece to work diligently to make sure that the wolves are ready for the fights, and that she is to continue to learn where the wealth is in Grendel and collect more and more wealth and gather as many of the street urchins and pickpockets that she possibly can for not only raising the wolves but for also, in this case, gathering monies and establishing what he refers to as the Lair, or in this case, probably some sort of guild.
Okay. I don't think does she have any gold pieces?
Yes, so she does have on the kind of, as you kind of pull her aside, on the other side, there is a smaller pouch on her right side there, and there's about 20 gold pieces in there.
Um, I'm going to take those and I'm going to sneak. Um,
Oh, and as you're removing that, there is a small key at the bottom of her coin purse.
I'm going to take that key. It's definitely useful.
Okay.
And I'm going to just sneak right. You see that corner near the. Here, I'm going to show you. Here. Wait, where is it?
So you're going to investigate more of the room?
Yeah.
Okay, I can move you up if you want.
Here. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna move up here and kind of right on the corner.
Okay. All right. So when you do that, you see more of the room again. It's dimly lit and it appears to be kind of an office space back here, and there is a door.
Okay.
And you said you were moving quietly to this area?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah, there are no papers or anything like that. It's just a lot of pruning tools and things like that. Some simple stools and things like that. It's a very crude table. You can see it's an area that they just use to caretake plants and things like that. Clearly, she had some sort of interest in taking care of plants. Maybe she was raised in a home where they would have greenery, and maybe she was raised on a farm. You don't know. So
Um, I'm gonna like. Can I see if the key opens the door? And if it does, I'm just gonna like have a little peek, like a same thing as when I was opening up the door. I'm just gonna have a tiny crack.
okay. All right. So yeah, when you look at the key and you kind of look at the door, I'm going to have you do kind of an investigation check. So investigation for you is a +3, and in this case, you're kind of seeing if this key matches this locking mechanism. It's similar to the kind of door that you saw when you first came in. It's more of a kind of a residential door, not fortified in any way.
Okay. Sadly, I got 6.
Well, you didn't need much to figure it out. You kind of bring it up close to the locking mechanism, and you see that most of it appears to kind of fit. It's made out of the same material or metal as the locking mechanism is, and so it is. It does match, or you believe it does.
I'm just gonna move over there because it's a little crowded where I am.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Also need my dice. All right. I'm thinking that I'm probably need to. I'm just gonna, like I said, gonna open a little like crack in the door and
Okay.
just walk through it.
All right. So as it unlocks, and you look in, you can see that this is a room. There is no light in this room, but there's a person who is kind of crouched along the side of the room, kind of across from where the door is. And they have their hands kind of covering their face, and they're kind of crying. And you see that they have their hands up next to their face, but there's kind of ropes around their waist, and you can see from the side that their hands are also bound. It seems like a young person, human, and again, somebody who is
A prisoner?
maybe, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna open the door because I'm assuming he probably doesn't have any weapons.
Okay. So as you open the door, he kind of turns to you and looks. Oh, oh, what do you want? Are you with the thieves?
Um. So where is the door? Right, like
Right in front of you. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna go in there and ask him about what is the place. What is this place?
I know nothing. I was 1 minute I was on the street and I was with my friends, and the next minute I there was a sack over my head and I was dragged here. I don't know why they want me. Maybe because my family is of a merchant tradition, and I know my dad has a lot of money. Maybe they want some of his gold. Are you here to help me?
Mm, I'm not sure what to do because maybe might not be useful and they might also be useful. Um, do
Do you
you know
want?
what they look like? Like, do you know what they wait over? Actually, I'm not gonna ask that.
You
Can
could
I
use.
investigate
Sure,
him?
you could use perception just to determine, if he's lying or not.
Okay, I'll just use perception then.
Mm-hmm. So yours again is going to be, in this case, there's no pluses at all.
Okay. A, s- a 6.
So you really can't tell if he's lying or not. You do notice though that his bindings have been on his wrists for quite some time. I mean, he's got cuts and bruises and things like that. Um, he doesn't seem to be well groomed or anything like that, so maybe he hasn't had a chance to bathe. He's probably been in here for a little while. There is a little bit of like moisture on the floor. He maybe had to kind of relieve himself while he was in there, so he hasn't been um, taken care of or anything like that. So it's pretty believable.
Is there any door that I can like kind of get out?
Only the door behind you, and in this case, when you do look at him as well, there was one other detail. He is, finely dressed, so
I
he
meant
is.
like get out of this space, like this not just this room. I meant the kind of like the hallway.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you can investigate if there's any false or sliding parts to the room that he's in. You could also look around in the other room. There was a window in the upper corner, all kind of. The shutters were closed, but it's right up here. Oh, to change. So right about there is a window, but the shutters are closed.
Mm-hmm.
There doesn't seem to be any other doors leading to any other parts of the building from this room.
I don't mean like from this exact room. I meant by like this room.
Yeah, only the window. There's no.
Um,
Yeah.
um, be
No.
able to see if there's any like doors to get in somewhere.
Okay. You actually might have to, um, leave this entire space here and work your way further around the building. Let me reveal a few more pieces here as you investigate the space. Yeah, so you could climb out that window if you wanted to. There, you remember there being a little bit of a kind of an offshoot of the footpath on the opposite side of that window.
I'm thinking about like I'm gonna save him, but I'm thinking I want to save him after when I kind of explore this, so
Sure.
nobody, so he kind of doesn't really drag
Okay.
me and stuff.
Uh,
Because
Very well. Very well. I haven't eaten in days. You have
um,
rations if you want to give him some rations.
sure, I'll give him some rations. I guess.
Okay. Excellent. So he takes it and he holds it in his hands and he begins to eat. And are you going to loosen any of his bindings and things like this?
Maybe it loosens some so the bruising can get better, but I'm not gonna like take it off or anything, so they don't suspect anything.
Okay, sure.
Come,
And you're going to tell him to kind of stay put?
yeah.
Let's do a persuasion for him. This is a +3. See if he um, wishes to do that.
All right. So am I should I roll?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 19.
Excellent. That was great because you had to hit a 19, literally. So
Oh,
yeah, he's like, "Oh, very well. I'll stay put, but don't forget me. I must return to my family. They will be very worried. It has been days, at least. I think it's been days. Is this evening? Is this day? What is this like now?"
I'm not really sure because I haven't gone out yet.
It's still
But
evening. It's getting closer
okay.
to kind of closer to maybe 1 in the morning.
I'm going to just like leave him be and stuff, and I hope he survives. I mean,
Okay.
survives.
Do you want to do anything like with the door or the key or?
Um, maybe I don't know where else I can go because it's all locked in stuff. I don't know how the. Yeah. Is there? Hmm. Is there any other doors?
No, nothing in this area here. But you can definitely, close the door and kind of give him. You could give him the key if you wanted to, and then
Um,
head back outside.
I'm not gonna give him the key because um, I don't know. I might be locked in, so I'm just gonna go outside and see if there's any more places.
Okay. So you can move yourself.
Oopsies.
Okay. And what direction are you going to be heading out? Nobody's in the area. It's very very dark now. Um,
um, I'm gonna head more down
okay.
this area.
All right. I will reveal things as you head in that direction. So as you are moving, I will go ahead and reveal. Seems to be at like a corner if you're heading to the lower portion there. Again, you don't hear any noises. You can always do like some sort of check if you want to listen or something like that.
I'm gonna stop and right in the corner and listen if there's anything.
All right. And I know you were talking about using your mirror to look around corners too. You have a mirror and you have in terms of sources of additional lighting, you have some candles and a torch. But go ahead and roll, and basically, this is going to be another one of these kind of perception checks. So go ahead and roll that. There's no modifiers on this.
12.
Okay, so you are pretty certain that there's nobody outside, but you can kind of faintly hear. There's kind of like a um, kind of a voice and somebody singing a little bit and knocking things over, and it's coming from. Let me see if I can ping for you there. It's coming from very close to this area here.
Hmm. I'm just gonna look around and just
Sure.
kind of peek.
And how are you going to look around that corner? Are you just kind of putting your head around it? Or are you just stepping straight out?
I'm just gonna be like right here and just take one eye and just look kind of.
All right. When you look around the corner, you can see pretty far. So let me reveal a good amount of distance here for you. There is a door, in this case, about 15 feet around that corner.
I see one thing right over there.
Let's see if I could reveal even more. It appears to be just more of kind of the street and another one of these kind of market areas.
Um, I see like one thing right here. I wish I can point it to you. No, let me use a. I see one thing like right there.
Yes, that's the door. It's a handle.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna open that door because I think that's another way to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna kind of sneak over. I'm gonna because you can hear somebody behind that general area or some noise coming behind there. And it sounds very odd. Um, Go ahead and do a stealth, kind of in terms of your movement. You have a +7 for that.
Okay. 13.
Excellent. So you just hear.
Hmm. Like against the door.
Just behind the door.
I'm gonna ready my weapon just in case, and I'm gonna open the crack of the door.
Okay.
This
When
much.
you check the door, it is locked. The handle, it's a handle that kind of levers up and down, and you kind of, it's locked.
Hmm.
And the noise on the other side of the door stops abruptly.
Like, what do you mean? Like,
You hear
stop.
this, and then it's quiet.
Uh,
There is a lock just to the left of the handle. So it's a handle, kind of horizontal handle, lever, and then there's a small lock next to it. This one seems to be well crafted.
um, I am going to try to unlock the door, but
Okay.
not open it like wide open, kind of just like the tiniest crack.
Okay. You will have to sheath your short sword or dagger or
Yeah, I'm
short bow.
gonna get ready my short sword.
Okay, but to pick the lock, you're going to need both hands.
Okay.
All right. So for lock picking, again, in this case, you're going to have a +3 to your roll.
Okay. I can't. Can I roll again? Cause I can't really tell because it's on its side and
Oh,
stuff.
sure. Go right ahead. Yep.
A 12.
Um, Basically, as you're kind of putting your tools in there, the tip of one of your tools breaks inside of the lock,
Mm-hmm.
and the handle goes like this. It says, "Who's there?" And the door is
Oh.
pulled open rather abruptly, and there is a massive individual
Um.
who's glaring at you. He doesn't have his shirt on. He's turned around. He's facing you, and his teeth are all yellow, and what few teeth are in his mouth. And he looks like he's seen his share of fights in his time, and he's looking straight at you, and he says, "What do you want, thief?"
Um.
And that's where we're going to end part two
Oh.
of A Thieves' Lair. Join us in our next port of the adventure to find out if Palia survives this rather odd situation where she has a rather robust, heavy set, almost wrestler like individual who she's interrupted from his happy evening's chores.
Yeah.
Take care. See you in part 3.